Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show is brought to you by premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, Bugmobile of Arkansas, H&R Block of Mississippi County, Ed Harshman and Harshman Reynolds, and Roller Swift Funeral Home. Council member Tyler Dunnigan. Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Grant Barnett. And now, the Robert Hook Show. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Robert Hook Show here on YouTube and Facebook. We are sponsored by our premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, and we appreciate them so much for allowing us to bring the Robert Hook Show to you fans each and every week. This time, folks, we're going to go back, look at the Walnut Ridge Bobcat game. I tell you what, a lot of people were nervous, Coach, at the halftime with that score. They watched the first half. I got a lot of text messages up in the booth and they would ask me, what's going on? What's going on with the Seminoles? Tale of two halves, folks, as you know. At Walnut Ridge, Coach, first quarter was just more of a. We had some penalties, we had some mistakes. Both teams punting each other. We go to the first quarter, we have no score whatsoever. 0-0 after the first quarter. Second quarter, finally with 10:04 left, MJ Vance has a 2-yard touchdown run. He kicks the extra point. Seminoles get on the board first, 7-0. Kind of the same thing again, making mistakes. Both teams kicking the ball. We go back down. Finally, Walnut Ridge gets the ball back. 18.6 seconds right before the half. Number 11, Cole Manning has a 1-yard touchdown run. Seminoles block the extra point. We go to halftime, folks, leading 7-6. And, Coach, that was a weird first half. I mean, me and Bobby talked about it during halftime. Just a different look for Osceola. From the standpoint, in my opinion, it's like they were grasping for straws. They were grabbing for straws, trying to figure out what they wanted to do. And nothing seemed to go 100% right. Just talk a little bit about, if you will, the first half. Cole Manning was a big part of that. That young man is a beast. They used him a lot to disrupt what Osceola was trying to do. Most of the time when he was at quarterback, he ran the ball. They put the other young man in at quarterback. They threw it to him. So everything went through Cole Manning, and that was a success that we saw that kept Osceola off the toes in the first half. Talk a little bit about the first half of football.
Well, I mean, Walnut Ridge did exactly what we thought they would do, and our play in the first half displayed the type of practices that we had last week. You try to warn them and warn them, and sometimes you just have to go through it, and that's exactly what happened. We had to be shown that Walnut Ridge was a pretty good football team, and that Cole Manning was definitely worth everything that we said he was. So it was one of those things where we didn't prepare the way that we should have mentally, and didn't have a great focus, and it showed. There's no excuses. There are no excuses. We had a couple touchdowns called back, but that's for us making minor mistakes. If you don't do the little things right, it's hard to win ball games. You have to do the little things right, and that's what what we've been preaching, and what we're going to continue to preach, and hopefully we got the message on Friday.
Bobby, we talked about it at halftime. We just said, man, this is just not what we're used to. Now, don't get me wrong. We talked about minimizing penalties and taking care of the ball, but it was a little bit more than that. It was just it seemed like Osceola it took time for them to figure out what they were going to do and get it right. I mean, it was a weird first half.
It just appeared there was no focus.
Right.
We talked about that, last week on the coach's show when Coach Hooks talked about Cole Manning and said that the young man was a ball player and would have some effect in the ball game. That definitely came true. The kid is a real football player, and he's a talent, and He does everything Walnut Ridge does run through Cole Manning. But even as well as he played, there were so many missed opportunities. Osceola, I felt like, should have been up 21-6 at halftime.
I agree.
And it's just like Coach said, those little things, just those little knick-knack penalties that have been nagging us all year in certain instances, kept us from really having control of the ball game at the half. And we talked about this at halftime too. I said I'd love to be a fly on the wall and hear what's being said in that locker room. But it was just a lack of focus. They just didn't come out ready to play football.
Just looked different. I mean, that's all we can say about it. And you know, you're exactly right. As soon as we went to the first break at halftime, Bobby looked at me and said, "Boy, I'd love to have a camera in that locker room right now," because I tell you, folks, I know kind of how our coach is, and he's going to demand that his team respond. And boy, did they respond, folks? Let me tell you, we get into the third quarter, 7-6 scored halftime, right off the very beginning. Kicked the ball off to Osceola, and Trey Moore takes it to the house. 70-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. We get the extra point. We're up now 14-6, and Bobby, that's when you saw the typical Osceola 7-0 football team that we're used to. As soon as Trey went across for the touchdown, you saw it. I mean, you just looked at the sideline, you looked at the players, you saw a life. You said, and that's when I kind of felt, well, there it is. There's a spark. That's exactly what we needed, and that's what happened.
Everybody knows that I'm probably Trey's biggest fan outside of his mother. I mean, the kid just does what he's supposed to do. He's not flashy. He's not pounding his chest all the time. He just does his job. But the whole demeanor of the football team across the board on that return was different. You saw the front line blocking get back and get into their lanes and block it up well, and you see Trey with that very determined style that he runs the football with. Now, he gets into one cut and he gets north and south and he gets up the field. And he's got the speed to take it to the house on anybody. But I think that set the tone. That set the tone for the second half. And you saw we talked about the tale of two halves, but you saw a completely different football team in the second half than you saw in the first half. Coach,
you get the ball back, 7:55 left in the third. You have 11-yard touchdown run by MJ Vance. Extra points good. Seminoles up 21-6. Just 2 minutes later, we get the ball back again. 18-yard touchdown run by number 5, Brandon Johnson. Extra point at this point was no good. We're up 27-6. It ended, but probably less than a minute, Seminoles get the ball back. There's a 15-yard touchdown run by your backup quarterback, Dontavian Littleton. MJ attempts the extra point one more time. It's no good. And the only other score in the third quarter comes at the 2:25 mark. We have a 50-yard touchdown pass from Don Littleton to Greg Hooks. We run the 2-point conversion. Dan Newsom runs the 2-point conversion in, puts you up by 35, 41-6 at the end of the third quarter. So, folks, let me just set the tone here. 7-6 at the half. We come out and score to make it 41-6 at the end of the third quarter. Coach, I don't know what you told them, but they responded. Talk to us a little bit about the third quarter.
Well, biggest thing, just making adjustments, and we run the same run plays with the quarterback, same exact thing that we call. We had mistakes with our miscommunication with the tight end and tackle, and we got that fixed, and we were able to just run the football well, and we also added the counter run with the running back up the gut, and Brandon Johnson did a good job of hitting it and getting inside and getting what he can get. Also, Jonathan Stovall come in and had a huge run for us. We're just excited about the way that we responded in that third quarter. One thing good that you can take from this is that all of our third quarters have been really, really stagnant, and we finally get a good third quarter. So now hopefully we can put a full ball game together and hopefully play great Seminole football.
And Bobby, that's another thing we talked about. We talked about that at the half. I said, usually the first half we're doing halfway decent. The third quarter is where we stall. So this game we stalled in the first half, but we came out in the third quarter and put the gas on. I mean, it was just Unbelievable in the third quarter.
You know, we've seen it all year. We've talked about it all year, the inconsistencies. We've talked about the youth and how many sophomores are actually playing, and they're playing in prominent positions. I mean, you're not sticking one sophomore in there at tight end for one play. I mean, these kids are playing and they're contributing, and I think that's where some of the inconsistency comes from. But Hoxie was probably the most complete ball game that we've played all year. But the explosiveness that we saw from both the defense and the offense in that third quarter at Walnut Ridge is what we know OCL is capable of and what that football team is capable of. And I'm sure that the Walnut Ridge fans would say, but Cole got hurt.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: the way the defense really focused in the second half, I don't know that Cole Manning makes that big a difference in that ball game at that point. And as always, sometimes the best defense is a great offense. And when you're putting points on the board at that rate and you're playing a football team that primarily wants to run the football, it's going to be hard for them to run with you and hang with you. But we go back to the senior leadership, Greg, Trey, MJ, coming out, putting their working hat on and going to work. And I got to tell you, that that ball that Don Taven threw to Greg Hooks was on a dime.
Beautiful. I
mean, it was on a dime. You couldn't ask for and I've told you all year that Don Taven's got the better arm. I've told you.
MJ gonna say
MJ brings a whole nother aspect to the field, but I have been for a kid that's in the 10th grade that spins the football the way he spins it and drops it into the places he drops it. He's got a bright future in Seminole football.
I agree with
if
that.
He'll keep his head on and do the right things, he's got it. So you just saw it wasn't just one person or one play that turned the ball game. It was the complete shift of the focus of the whole team, and the tone was set by Trey, and that's that
right.
Senior. Come out here and let's do our job and get it done. So.
That's exactly right, Coach. You're into the third quarter, 41-6, 35 points, folks. That's the mercy rule. Clock's running, so the fourth quarter's not going to last very long. Seminole is going to get right back on the board. 9:50 left in the ball game. 2-yard touchdown run by Brandon Johnson. Once again, we had some problems on the extra point. No good. We're up 47-6, and clock's still running. We ended up getting the ball back on a turnover on downs. 4:15 left. The final score comes from Jonathan Stovall on a 25-yard touchdown run, which ends the game 54-6. And just to go off a little bit about what Bobby said, Coach. Your defense. You give props to your defense because in that first half, when nothing's happening on your offense, they kept you in the ball game and said, "Hey, look, we're going to keep this at hand. You got to get this offense worked out because we got to go score some points." They give you 6 points is all they gave up all night long. And if nothing would have happened, if it had been stagnant in the second half, you'd have won 7-6. So your defense stepped up and was huge, Coach, for this ball game. Your offense got on track. It just goes to show you play good defense, but your offense gets on track, gives you lots of points. 54-6 is a big win. Nobody would have never believed you were 7-6 at half. They wouldn't have done it. They'd been like, no, Seminoles had to be up 28-6, something like that. But it just shows how explosive you can be on offense, and when your defense is on, that's how you win championships. So, right. Coach, a little bit more about this game. Just to finish it out here, and then we'll move on.
Just very proud of the way that our young guys played. Well, everybody played on defense. Greg had 2 picks, did a good job of, high pointing the ball. Yep. And Trey, of course, Trey was Trey. Come down here, make tackles, defend the pass really well. Dan did good. But up front, the young guys, Kamarian Brooks, A.J. Harris, JVM Wiley, even Keyone Gregory. Keyone Gregory got some snaps.
Sure did.
This weekend. He's a guy that's coming on. I think 2 or 3 more weeks, that guy's he's gonna give us some great sub minutes. Chris Littleton played at inside linebacker. I don't know y'all noticed that, and he actually did better on the drops than any guy that's been doing it since we started the season. So he provided a spark. We saw something there. Also, we had Jabari Person. Jabari Person had a great ball game. Come up and tackled well from an outside backer spot. And Brandon Johnson was solid also. I thought even, and that's why we continue to take shots in the first half, because I felt that they weren't going to move it on our defense. We can take shots, and the shots we took, we had Stephon wide open the first time and end up throwing a pick. Then we run the same exact play, have him open again, and it hits him on the leg. He lost it in the light. So, you got a team like that, and your defense is playing pretty well, and you have good field position. That's you can take a few shots to if you have matchups that you want, and we felt we had those matchups.
Just a little bit about your final stats on the game, Coach. Seminoles 7 for 16, 7 completions, 16 attempts for 152 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. 22 carries, 149 yards, 6 touchdowns for a total of 301 yards on the night. And, folks, I promise you, most of them yards came in the second half. So not a bad output on your football team on offense. Your defense kept you in the ball game all night long and gave you the opportunity to win, and that's all you can ask for. So Seminoles get the road win, 54-6 against the Walnut Ridge Bobcats. We're going to take a timeout, let our sponsors tell you a little bit about themselves. And we'll come back, talk about the Manila Lions. It's homecoming week at Osceola, and we'll talk to you about some of the things that are going to be happening with homecoming week and finish it out with our pick'ems. We'll talk about last week's pick'ems and this week's pick'ems. So this time, we'll take a break, let our sponsors get a word in here. We'll be right back.
First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is the official bank of the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show. Our premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, is Eastern Arkansas's largest independently owned bank. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas specializes in all your banking needs, including personal banking, online banking, business banking, savings accounts, loans, CDs, and IRAs. Go down to the First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, speak with President Greg Reese and teller supervisor and loan processor Taylor Lucius for all your banking needs. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is a proud sponsor of the Osceola Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, member FDIC. Bugmobile of Arkansas, located at 408 South Walnut in Osceola, specializes in pest control and termite control for both residential and commercial properties. Owners Oscar and Jade Gonzalez would be happy to come out and give you a free estimate, and you can also contact Bugmobile at 870-563-6811. Bugmobile is a proud sponsor of your Osceola Seminoles and the Seminole Nation. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a tax preparation and financial service located at 2981 West Kaiser in Osceola. They can be reached at 870-563-5710. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation. Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals, located at 202 West Johnson in Osceola, can meet all of your residential and storage rental needs. Harshman's has apartments and housing located throughout Osceola and Mississippi County, both furnished and unfurnished, available for rent. You can contact Harshman Rentals at 870-563-3694. Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals are a proud sponsor of Osceola Seminole Athletics and the Seminole Nation. Roller Swift Funeral Home of Osceola is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation and Osceola Seminole Athletics. Located at 2173 US 61 South, Roller Swift Funeral Home specializes in funeral services and helping families with the costs associated with them. For more information, contact them at 870-563-6578 and speak with David Tucker. Roller Swift Funeral Home, with all our respect.
Councilmember Tyler Dunnigan is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show. Tyler is working for a better Osceola with real commitment and real results. Councilmember Tyler Dunnigan for a better Osceola. Farm Bureau Insurance of Osceola and Agent Grant Barnett proudly sponsor the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show. Contact Grant for all of your auto, home, and life insurance needs. You can see Grant at 3125 West Kaiser in Osceola and contact him at 870-563-6561. Farm Bureau Insurance and Agent Grant Barnett are proud sponsors of the Seminole Nation.
And welcome back to the Robert Hook Show. folks, you just heard from our sponsors. If you see them sponsors out in the community, tell them thank you so much for bringing the Robert Hook Show to us each and every week, and also the Seminole Nation. Without them, we couldn't do the Robert Hook Show, and we sure couldn't do the Friday night live feed that we get to do every Friday night. So they made it possible to start this year. Hopefully, we're going to continue to make this a yearly thing and keep going. So I want to thank our sponsors. You just heard every one of them, and we appreciate them so much. Coach, it's homecoming week. I know that's your favorite week. We talk about it every year. You love this week. Not really. He doesn't love it, but it's a lot of distraction, a lot of things going on. Kids wanting to have fun, and sometimes it's hard to just get that mind wrapped around that I got to play a football game on Friday night, and it's an important one because it's a conference game. But we play the Manila Lions. They're coming in over from across the river, and I'm sure they'll bring a big crowd, and they want to come in here and pull the upset on the Seminoles on Friday night. So let's talk a little bit about the Manila Lions.
Manila's Coach Jake Hill is doing a great job over there. He's playing a lot of young guys. At quarterback, he has Brady Miller, a guy who's a junior who runs the offense well. In the backfield, I've seen 3 different guys. I've seen number 12, Jordan Spray. Seen him back there. He does a good job. I've seen number 24, Zach Morris. He's also a pretty good runner. And also has this guy, number 35, Clint McCaskill, who runs the ball really, really hard. I think up front, had some big guys who are really doing a good job and as far as in their blocking. And we expect it to be a good, hard-fought ball game. And, defensively, they fly around to the football also. So it's going to be us having our hands full again with a good football team and a well-coached football team. So, we're just going to have to make sure that we're up for the challenge on homecoming.
Bobby, they come in into this game 2-3 on the season, 0-2 in conference. Manila, the new coach, I'm sure he's trying to put in his new offense and defensive schemes and things like that. Taking over for the legendary coach Lauren Morgan over there, who was a coach at Osceola for a number of years under Clinton Gore, and then went to Manila. So they're just trying to rebuild from that era. Got a lot of friends from Manila who always kind of calls us every year and talks about this will be the year they're going to get us. But I tell them every year, I don't think it's going to be this year. So I'm assuming that all of them will be over here. So Manila's going to be they're going to come in here looking for the upset, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm a little upset with Manila. They let me down. I had them picked and really believed they were going to take care of business at home. But it's kind of the same thing as we looked at last week when we were looking at Walnut Ridge. When you sit down and look at these two teams on paper, and you look at the offensive statistics, the defensive statistics for both teams, you think in your mind this is not going to be much of a matchup. But as we saw really quickly last week at Walnut Ridge, you can get into a ball game. And I talked about it on the live feed. You let teams like Walnut Ridge or Manila start to believe, and they start having positive things happen for them, and they start to believe, hey, we're here, we can play, and we can hang with these folks, and you get yourself in a bind. And if you're not focused and you're not doing your job, you're not executing at a high level, and they are, and then they're riding that wave of energy given to them by those positive experiences, you find yourself in a really bad spot really quickly. So I think all week, I know Coach is gonna hammer this home about the preparation and look at what we did last week and look at how we came out in the ball game because you guys aren't focused. I think it's all about focus for Osceola. If they come out, they're focused, they've prepared well, and they execute, the ball game will be in hand early. If they don't, and if they're worried about homecoming and the queen and all that kind of stuff, then we may see ourselves a ball game.
I agree, and you're right. It's been the biggest thing on homecoming week. We're trying to build floats. We're trying to get everything ready in the hallways to be judged. Every class wants to win at the end of the homecoming week, and a lot of times they got to remember that on Friday night we got a huge football game. What I mean by huge football game, folks, you're playing in conference play right now. You have got to play high in your conference. You got to win it. You want to win the conference, And that's exactly the reason why I keep saying this is very important. Excuse me. So what's got to happen, they've got to get focused fast. Cannot overlook Manila. I mean, you can look at their record and they say, oh, they're 0-2. They've been beat by this team and beat by that team. That's not the way you can go in and look at this. You can't do it. You've got to go in as they're the number one team in the nation, and they're coming for us, and it's every man for itself. That's what you got to do. And at the end of the night, if we can execute, play a good football game, I believe we'll be out on top easily here. Nothing against Manila. They're they're new football coach, new football team over there. Got some good kids. I know a lot of them. They're going to be ready to play this Friday night, I promise you. And also has to be the same way. So, folks, that's a little bit about the Manila Lions. This Friday night, 7 o'clock, Seminole Stadium, homecoming. Be a lot of things going on with that, especially with your queen, whole homecoming court royalty will be done Friday night. Man, I cannot tell you how many classes we got coming back. It is going to be huge. What we're going to do is we'll try to get maybe some of them on the live feed on Friday night. We're going to try to honor every one of them, I think, either before the game or at halftime. Bunch of classes coming back. Alumni are very excited about Seminole football. They're very excited about being able to watch Seminole football because they live way off. A lot of people live way off from here, and it's so great to be able to get text messages and emails from them telling us thank you for the live feed. They keep up with it, whether they used to have to listen to it on the radio or making that phone call to me after a Friday night and ask how we did. Now they get to see it. So it's just it's going to be big this Friday night. Folks, we've been, since 2 or 3 weeks ago, we've been talking about something special that's going to happen. And let's go ahead, Bobby, and we'll let the people know about it. This Friday, downtown Osceola, the parade starts around 3 o'clock. Seminole Nation will go live at 3:30 with a special edition of the Robert Hook Show from downtown. We'll be at the Pocket Park right there off the square on the stage of the Pocket Park. Main Street Osceola has been very gracious to allow us to use the Pocket Park and the stage there for the Robert Hook Show. Was the special edition we're going to do. Bobby, we're going to have Coach Hooks is going to take just a small amount of his time to come down and talk to us a little bit about the ball game. Also, we're going to have a lot of our sponsors. So you get to see a lot of our sponsors that sponsor the show. Seminole Band will be there, Seminole cheerleaders, a lot of people from the community. We're going to try to get maybe Maurice Carthon. I've talked with him about maybe coming on Friday. We'll just have to see how that works out and schedule. So it's just going to be a big deal. And I'll tell you this, folks, weather permitting, we've got a 70-80% chance of rain on Friday. We'll see if we get a window. If it's just a Wally Gusher out there, we're not going to be able to. It's going to be hard for us to go live, but we're going to go live until we tell you we're not. So just stay tuned for that. And Bobby, it's going to be huge. I know First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is bringing their big tent down there. We want everybody to come down, get involved with the parade, see the big pep rally on the courthouse square that we have every year, and then just walk across the street there to the Pocket Park and join the live show of the Seminole Nation live from downtown Osceola.
You know, we talk about it all the time about the community involvement and what that means to the kids, and of course I'm always thinking back to my time in Luxor and how we did things, and you know that homecoming parade. You know, even though it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we would have a huge turnout, and you would go up to Main Street in Calhoun there at the intersection of Luxor and have a pep rally, and you couldn't put another person in there. And as a football player, as a young kid, you stand there and you look at that and you say, the community's really behind me. And it's really a pick me up. It really lets you know where you stand. And that's important to these kids, and they need that support. So, getting the community out, getting them downtown at the courthouse and being involved in that parade and letting those kids see you out there supporting them. It doesn't take a lot of time. No. It's not far. And then come on over and we'd love to have a big turnout out there in the Pocket Park for this show. We'd love to have your hear your input there and hear what's going on and see the some of the alumni that we try to get some of our sponsors to get up there and speak. And Maurice is a legend in Osceola athletics and probably one of the better NFL football fullbacks that I've seen play in my time. That's a special thing for Osceola, and it should be a special thing. So I hope the community turns out.
That's
I
right.
do. Come see us and
But we kind of got away from that a little bit, Bobby. And nothing. I'm not trying to start any little negativity, because we're all about positivity.
Yep.
But when we were kids and stuff, it was a way of life.
It was.
Well, you waited on homecoming. The homecoming parade always started around 3:00.
Yep.
But that was a way of life. Your employer said, "Hey, this Friday at 3 we're closing because we're going down and we're going to
the parade.
We're going to the parade."
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it was. The florists, they made the big mums,
Yes.
and they'd be down there selling mums.
Yes.
If you want one for the homecoming dance tonight or game tonight, we've got it. And everything just stopped.
It did.
And it's all because that's called community pride. You take pride in your school. Your school takes pride in your community. That's what goes hand in hand. And you talked about how Luxor, y'all go down there at Calhoun and your community supported your school.
It did.
And when homecoming rolls around, that's something that's huge. And that's something that it still happens. I'm not saying it don't. It is. I mean, we still have a good crowd down there for the parade. But folks, we encourage every one of you, if you're an employer, give your employees 30 minutes. Let them go down and be a part of the homecoming parade and get involved. Get involved.
It's 2019. Let's have a 1985 homecoming.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's have one of those. My dad, and people that know me or know my dad was in route sales most of my life, and I can remember him getting up early on that Friday because he was going to have that route completed because he was going to be there.
That's right.
And that's that's big. That's big, and the community, the community has really supported us in this venture. We've had businesses that have given a lot of their time and money to make sure that we can do these things. Come out and see these kids and clap and get involved.
I agree. And
be
folks,
part of
not
it.
just that. When we get done with that show down there on Friday, we're going to Seminole Stadium. We're going to set up. We want the stands packed Friday night. It is time. It's homecoming at Osceola. I know the class is going to be there. It's going to be a big time at Seminole Stadium Friday night at 7 o'clock. Pack the stands and show these kids that you care about them.
And the fans have traveled well.
Oh, man.
We saw it at Hoxie. They traveled well to Walnut Ridge. Hey, we're at home this week. The place ought to be full.
Ought to be full. That's
It should be
exactly
full.
right. Rain or shine. Hey, I remember sitting out in the rain watching Seminoles play. We went on the road one time. It rained the whole time, but man, it was so much fun watching us.
We didn't have turf. I wanted to play in the rain because the ground was hard.
All right, Bobby, let's just real quick to end the show. We're going to talk about our pick'ems.
Yeah,
Last
I knew you
week,
was gonna talk about
Osceola beat Walnut Ridge 54-6, so, we don't ever pick that game. Hoxie at Newport. We talked a little bit about, Hoxie had a little bit of firepower. We thought Newport was too tough. Both of us went with Newport, and it reigned true. Newport beat Hoxie 52-35. And then let's get to this last two here. Corning on the road at Manila. It was Manila's homecoming. And Bobby picks Manila. I went out on a limb, and I just think that Corning's better. I'm sorry.
You were going to pick Corning till they won.
No,
That's all it was.
Coach, well, they let me down the first week. So I thought about not picking them at all. But, Coach Treadway's doing an excellent job at Corning. And I just thought, man, this is going to be the one they're going to slip up on. But then I thought, man, Manila's homecoming. They're going to be playing hard. It was tough. Bobby picks Manila. I pick Corning. Final score, Corning 36, Manila 0. So, Bobby, I told you so. That's all I can tell you. Randy Travis, folks, look it up. Greatest hits, Randy Travis. I told you so. And one more game here. Harrisburg travels to Piggott. Bobby picks Piggott. I pick Harrisburg on the road. Final score: Harrisburg 22, Piggott 8. Bobby, you lost 2 last week.
Yep.
That makes me 1 up.
That means I have a better comeback. That's all it means. That's all it means. It's going to be that much worse when you lose in the end because I had to come back.
I'm going to pick with gut. But I could just pick the parental favorites and just beat you by 1. But I'm not going to do that, Bobby.
No.
Every week I'm going to look for one that I think can go either way. And I'm going to
Somebody's going to slip. Somebody's going to slip. It's going to happen. You're going to we'll see.
Well, let's talk about this week. Manila is at Osceola. We're not going to pick that because we're going to call it. Man, sound just like ESPN. If Herb Street's calling it, he won't pick it. So since we're calling it, we don't pick this game.
No, we ain't going to pick that.
We want ESPN coach. All right, Newport is at Harrisburg, and Bobby. Now, a lot of people are circling this game. Now, Harrisburg is 5-0.
Newport.
Newport's got a loss to
Newport.
Lono.
Newport.
Harrisburg's 5-0 at home.
Newport.
Looking to I'm talking about looking to take the upset.
How many times I got to say it?
You going with Newport?
Newport.
I am too.
Nah, that's what
I
I figured.
I don't think Harrisburg.
Yeah,
is
you're
gonna
not
be able
going
to
out
do
on
it.
that limb, are you?
No, I'm not.
That's
that,
what
I'm
I
not
thought.
that
Yeah.
far. Because folks,
Oh, I'm picking with my
telling
gut.
you, Newport's got a heck of a football team.
They
If
do.
y'all hadn't got to see them this year, they are flashy. They are flashy. They can score points in a hurry. They look a lot like the Seminoles. And if everything, I don't want to jump the gun, but if everything holds true, Week 10 at Osceola is going to be epic. Do you hear me?
It is.
It's going to be epic. But yes, I'm going with Newport. Me and Bobby both are going to take Newport to beat Harrisburg at Harrisburg. Corning and Hoxie, Bobby. Corning Bobcats coming off a huge win over the Manila Lions. They're going to play Hoxie.
You going to pick Corning again?
Hoxie's 0-2 on the young season of conference play. Who you got?
Hoxie. You gonna pick Corning again?
No, I'm going
Why
with
not?
Hoxie on
Oh,
this.
they really they're your savior,
they're
man.
a great football team.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
I just think Hoxie's gonna be too tough with Dalen Powell and them at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna run the ball, and so is Shaderick. So I think Hoxie's gonna turn it around right here and get their first win in conference at home this week. And the last game is Walnut Ridge travels to Pickett. Now Pickett's tough at home, Bobby. They're tough at home. Walnut Ridge is tough, especially if Cole Manning's gonna play.
I think that's the key. How hurt was Cole Manning, and will he play? And if he does play, is he 100%? I'm a little ticked off at Pickett. They let me down last week. But at home, I think I got to go with Pickett.
Woo-wee. Folks, did y'all hear that pick? Bobby's going out on a limb. He's trying to get that win back.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking Pickett at home against Walnut Ridge. Bobby, I'm going to tell you something. If Cole Manning plays, they may run rule Pickett. I'm telling you, they may put the Mercer rule on Pickett. I'm just telling you, home or not. I'm telling you. Well, Walnut Ridge showed me last week is they got a lot of toughness.
He needs help.
They got a lot of toughness.
They're tough.
I'm
They're tough.
going with Walnut Ridge.
Michael, they scored 6 points.
I'm going with Walnut.
6
Well,
points.
how many did Pickett score? 8. So
That's enough to win.
I'm telling
8
you
to
right
6
now,
is a win.
I'm going with Walnut Ridge to beat Pickett. I'm doing it. There it is.
Well, we're back even then because that's gonna even us right up. I'm glad.
No, I'm going up 2. Then I'm gonna be conservative the rest of the year, and I'm gonna win.
We'll see.
Walnut Ridge to beat Pickett on the road.
Come on, Pickett. Let's go, Mohawks. I need you.
Whatever. Folks, that's the pick 'em for this week. Don't forget, this Friday, 3:30, down at the Pocket Park in Osceola, downtown Osceola. We're going to be live. Come out and see the live Robert Hooks show. We'll take some questions from the fans for Coach Hooks while he's there. Not going to be there very long. I had to twist his arm to get him to come down to help us out because he's going to be in full mode on Friday, and that's what we want him to be. But he is going to give us a little bit of his time.
I want to see you twist his arm.
Well,
I'm going to be there for that.
Well, I said we. There's a lot of us. So
we.
Come down. We'll get some questions from the audience for Coach Hooks, and we'll see what's going to happen this Friday night against the Manila Lions. Bobby, you think Tony Miller and them's going to come over from Manila?
Oh, Tony will be there. Tony, the Twins are playing. Tony will be there, and we'll have to shout out to the Twins. They're fine athletes, good ball players.
They are.
And Tony's a great guy.
He sure
we'll be
is.
glad to see him over there.
He sure
A
is.
lot of friends from Manila.
They play a lot of baseball. Them 2 twins play a lot
They
of
have.
baseball with us here at
They
Osceola, and they're excellent. It's excellent family.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say that. And but everybody, Daryl Birmingham, he's the park and recreation director over Manila. He sends me a shout out all the time.
Daryl will be loud.
He'll be loud. I promise you. If he's in the building,
you'll know it.
He's gonna be loud. I promise you. So shout out to Daryl over there, doing a great job over at Manila Parks and Recreation. They got a lot of things going good over there, and I'm proud of what they got going on. So hey, this Friday night, folks, 7 o'clock, Seminole Stadium. Come out. Let's get there early. Let's get them stands. Let's pack the stands. I know there's gonna be a lot of barbecue going, so maybe the Seminole Nation can make the rounds to the tailgating spots and see who's got the best barbecue. So we'll get a lot going on this Friday night. We look forward to it, but don't forget 3:30, Pocket Park in downtown Osceola. We'll see you.
We're gonna
there.
sample that barbecue, right?
Yeah,
I was just checking.
They're not
making sure.
gonna care. I know Emil Scales will be down there.
Yeah,
queuing
email
it up.
it. He'll fill us. He'll feed us.
He'll
Yeah,
feed us.
he'll
I
feed
promise you he will. So, and we'll try to get as much food as we can.
I'm with you on that.
We'll brag on folks. That's what we need
That's
to do.
what we need to do. Advertising.
Who is the best barbecuer? We'll find out Friday night.
Advertising.
I promise you that.
Yep.
Want to thank Jay Gonzalez for taking care of us with the controls over there. Most of the time he's shaking his head like this right here. Really don't know what that means, but we're trying to learn about it. But for Jay Gonzalez, Coach Hooks, thank you so much for being here with us today. Good luck this Friday night. We'll be there rooting for you, and go Seminoles. And Bobby, Walnut Ridge over Pickett.
Keep on.
Folks, we'll see you this Friday night in Seminole Stadium. Thank you so much.